What's the most amount of IPL games you've seen in a single season?
Yeah, I don't know numbers, but it'd probably be around 85 to 90% of one season would be the highest I think I would have ever.
And was that so what is it now, 74 games a season?
Yeah, that was probably 60 odd. I'm trying to remember what year that was. There was a year I was paid by someone to work on it, and I was pretty much every game. So the problem is that it doesn't work like anything else in cricket. Like let's say you get paid to cover, I don't know, the CPL or something, right? It's like a month's worth of work. Like, well, we don't get many days off, but it's just 1 month. It's 2 months in the IPL. So 2 months without a day off is basically impossible, right? Like you need a break. And so it's very, very hard as a professional to cover it. So a lot of the Indian commentators, they do 2 or 3 weeks and then they go home for like a week or two in the middle to recover and then come back on it. And it's really, really hard. It's an easier one to cover if you're just sitting in front of your TV and not doing much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you're actually working, if you're writing, if you're commentating, if you're doing analysis, whatever, it's quite tough just because it's day after day. I'm lucky now that I have like a partnership with MB Play. So if I miss a game, I can just go back and watch every single ball, but in a 40-minute chunk rather than in a 4-hour chunk, right? So I don't miss any games, but I don't watch as many live as I have in other seasons.
What about you, Bumble? Not in terms of the IPL, but I mean, is there such thing as cricket fatigue when you're watching your 5th Test match? Maybe the kind of know where the series is going.
John, I have to tell you, I don't watch cricket on television.
What?
I don't.
You are cricket on television.
I don't watch. I follow it with the scores and follow it by various.
I've never seen him lean forward like that before.
No, I was really.
Yeah, I thought he was about to say, John, I have to tell you,
I've
I'm
never
your father.
liked you.
I was dreading the question because I saw it on the train coming down.
Yeah.
I don't watch cricket on TV. But I follow it.
But why?
I'm doing other things. I'm just
not even in the background.
Do you feel that you have reached a level of knowledge of cricket you don't need to watch it?
Yeah, it's unlike him. He's working on it. He's watching it and working. I'm
He'd
not.
still be doing it though. He'd still be watching.
Yeah, well, he's different.
He is.
But I would.
I am different.
From an entertainment viewpoint, it's been my job for a long, long time, and I don't do it. I follow it. I'm following it hourly, watching all the time. And although I've been this week at Emirates Old Trafford, I'm following all the other games. So I go in a local pub, and my pal Keith, who's from Essex, has got his laptop and he's watching the end of Middlesex Kent.
Yeah, it's a good
Championship game. Great game.
Very exciting
And
game.
so it was a wonderful scene in the back
Middlesex
room.
won by 2 wickets.
The back room of the pub. He's got his iPad, and there's Jeff there, there's Jim who'd had a lot to drink, me and Keith all watching this end of the game with Parkinson bowling leg spin, and they're eking their way forward to this when we 24 to win with 2 wickets. So I would watch that little passage of play, but to sit down and watch, no, I wouldn't do it. Watch football
on TV,
wall to wall.
Yeah, but football's
golf, wall to wall.
But football's on at a better time of day.
It is,
us, right?
You also worked in cricket for like 60 years.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you know,
that's
the thing. I sometimes, I probably watch as much cricket as anyone in the world, but sometimes I will sit down at the end of the day and there'll be a blast game on or a Major League Cricket game, or West Indies playing, and my wife wants to watch it. And I'm like, I've been watching 12 hours of cricket today.
You've got little kiddies who want to watch as well, haven't you?
Yep.
There you go. I mean, that's all part of family life.
Yeah, so that's usually during the day though. So for me, that's work. It's the late night stuff where I've already watched maybe 1 full game,
I know
covered another game, and now there's a 3rd game on. And I'm like, I just don't know, because I don't know how you feel or you feel. I can't turn my brain off when I'm watching cricket. So the minute I start watching cricket, I'm like, and it's the same. Even when I'm playing cricket, I'm going through. This reminds me of this, or we could do this, and all these things start happening. It's really hard for me to just turn my brain off and watch cricket and enjoy cricket. And so I'm working even when I'm not working.
I think when it's on TV, it's very difficult to just enjoy cricket. When I'm at a cricket
Yeah, I'll give you
ground,
that.
it's easier.
Yeah.
So the other thing, I'll go and watch league cricket at weekend. I'll go and sit and watch and walk round like we always have done. Now, I find that really good. I find that very relaxing, and I know the players. I like the standard of cricket that's being played. The one thing that I find as a negative is the noise on the field. And I've said to our lads, I said, look, lads, just shut up. Just shut up and just play. All this...
I can see that.
So when we put together the team for talkSPORT, one of the area of individual that we wanted to avoid was the kind of individual that is dialing it in. They've just watched too much cricket.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never had that with you, and obviously not with you. But there are certain character on the commentating right now, and they stopped caring about cricket a long, long time ago.
They don't follow it.
Well, they don't follow it because they're not interested in it because they watch too much of it.
Yeah.
And even now, like when you watch the IPL or listen to the IPL,
See, I follow the
there
IPL.
are
I follow,
people-
just follow it. I
there
follow
are
the
people.
scores.
Yeah, I do as well.
Yeah.
Every day I will look at the scorecard and I'll see which players have done what and what players haven't, and I'll see the story. But there's so many people that are working on that just do not actually like
See,
it.
you mentioned that game at Beckenham, the women's game at Beckenham, that was nobody there. He's not advertised. I knew immediately with the game that you meant. It was a Surrey women,
Yeah.
and it was a good game.
No, the one I went to was not. The
All
one
right,
I
No,
went to
you're
was
talking
when-
about the Somerset game.
Yeah.
You're talking about
That was a good
I
game.
went to the Durham game where
yeah.
Surrey just made a lot of runs.
lot of
and
runs.
Susie went out early and it was kind of game over.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, look, I think, yeah.
But yeah, that came within a week
But
or
that's
two.
still following it. I remember
Yeah.
talking to Kerry O'Keefe and this is quite a funny story because he hasn't.
You'll follow that as well, Sheffield Shield.
Yeah.
Follow that, see how they're doing.
So Kerry O'Keefe said that he was retiring from ABC because he no longer wanted to watch the IPL into 2 a.m. in the morning or 3 a.m. in the morning, right? And he'd always done that as a professional. That's how, Kerry O'Keefe was part of his whole thing. He then unretired afterwards because someone gave him a big load of money. But we know that there are many other commentators and many other people in the media. I think it's a bigger issue in cricket than other places. But I remember there was a lot of stuff going on with one of the NBA finals one year about all the big famous NBA, voices that during the games just were on their phones, like looking at stuff and not watching the game. And that's because these guys have played 82 games or 100 games a year if they play in the playoffs, right? Every year for their life. They know basketball really well. If something happens, they'll put their phones down. But if it's just a normal game, sometimes...
Oh, I can think of a very famous cricket commentator who I think is one of the best, who will quite happily sit at the back of the box and just watch horse racing or just anything. Cricket's there.
Yeah.
And he'll look up. Like when you're at a county game and you can read a book
Yeah.
whilst watching the cricket. It's that, right? You're so in tune with the game, you can literally just...
There is an element, too, though, of commentary where I sometimes feel I watch less cricket when I'm commentating than when I'm doing any other job in cricket.
I'm the other way. If I'm commentating, I watch it all the time.
No, because
I might be chatting. I'm sort of chatting and watching.
No, so I feel that I need that 20 minutes.
Right, okay.
To not that I'm not following it.
Yeah.
But whereas when I'm
I-
writing, even when I'm having a conversation, I can tell you exactly where they've just moved point.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
When I'm not commentating, I do feel I need just a little bit of that moment just to get my head back to a normal space. And I think there's a lot of commentators who did that, right? Like, some of the grounds in the UK, the Sky guys are quite often in the green room more than they're, out watching the game live. And they're still flicking their eyes up, but it's not quite the same. And it's the same with the BBC and talkSPORT and SEN, whoever, right? And all that sort of stuff. So I do feel that sometimes with commentary, you do need that sort of give and take. And the other thing is, like, there will be people now going, what, you don't watch every game in the IPL because they're fans, but that is their 3 hours or 4 hours in the case of the
Well,
IPL.
that's the
their
thing.
time,
So,
right?
I mean,
Yeah.
people would follow, and that word tribal, that is their team.
But that's not how we work as well. Like, for us, it is a job. So that having a day off from that is like a big part of what we have to do. We have to recharge for the next day.
I remember working at Football World Cups, and you get to a ground in Brazil, like you're at a Football World Cup, right? This is the pinnacle event in world sport. And I remember it wouldn't be an unusual occurrence for me to get to the ground, get all my stuff sorted, plug it all in, get everything sorted. And then suddenly I'd be like, and then I'd look up and I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't taken in whatever ground it was, whether it was, you know, the Maracanã in Rio or the one in Brasilia.
I'll tell you what's always fascinating me from our business, the media side of things. If I'm working, if I'm doing a game, I get there unbelievably early. I get ridiculously early. And just mooch around. And then I notice other guys in the media centre, in the written media, they turn up and it's been going for 5 or 10 minutes. They've just rocked up.
Yeah.
And so that's always been, I just want to soak it all up and get a feel of the event, ask a few questions.
Yeah,
you know,
but you're using that, aren't you?
yeah,
You're going to be using
Go
it.
looking at the weather. I want to find out about the pitch. If I'm not allowed on the pitch, what's it look like?
You go into this weird zone, because I've been privileged, we've both been privileged enough to work with you on commentary.
And he started in a weird zone.
You're in,
It's a good start. It's a good start to be in the weird zone.
but you kind of go into this almost otherworldly space where we'll be doing ball by ball, we'll ask you a question, and you'll almost not be in the room. You would have thought of something, you'll be focusing on it, and you'll very much want to talk about that, and it's kind of like you're going from, you know, seeking from normal life to commentator, right?
Yeah.
You're commentating. I would reckon the print boys are in a similar kind of, they're getting themselves ready to be working at the end of play.
Their big one is the end of the game.
They're doing they're doing what you're doing, maybe 10 minutes into play, which, you know, we couldn't do because we're going to call it.
Yeah.
But they're doing the same thing. They're just taking little bits as the day progresses, and then as play finishes.
Yes, and a written media will be, there's a note. And, you know, I was sitting next to him and I thought, he can't decipher that. He's just put 3 or 4 words. And how does he remember that? As to how's he going to pad that out into a paragraph and extend that paragraph into an article?
It's changing subject wildly. But at the end of a day's play, when you're in the press conference and you've got, say, 10, in this country, we're fortunate to have quite a rich cricket media tradition, although it is eroding. And all these 10 journalists have seen the same day's play, and they've all got their different angle at which they're going to go about it. Yeah. But they're going to be telling the other people in the room what their angle is by the question they ask the person. Yeah. And I always find that quite interesting, because you don't want to give the game away, do you?
And there will also be the written media person who doesn't go to that conference. I know what I'm writing.
Yeah.
I don't need to go there.
Looking at me.
Yeah. No.
me and Mike Selvey always in the room already halfway through our piece while everyone else is out in the press conference.
Yeah.
Going back to the start though, is there too much cricket? You know, do you suffer? I think Matt Roller described it, and it is described as IPL fatigue, where at the start of the tournament the viewing figures are this high, and because it's a long tournament, then it starts to dip. I mean, it's still incredible figures. And then as the culmination of the leagues kicks in, it rises up again.
Is he talking about viewing figures on TV?
Yeah, in India.
In India?
Yeah.
Right. Not
So
in
there's
the UK. Not in the UK.
It's kind of the same everywhere.
But it will be
It has
the
the
same
dip
here.
everywhere.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, do you know what it is? That's just a league, right? Most leagues are going to have a dip in the middle, right?
It's very much a thing.
We're not as used to that in cricket, and you know, Matt has been covering the IPL for certainly since I left Cricinfo, so maybe 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
It's part of his working thing now of like, you know, like it's funny, I got a bunch of messages from people in India this week going, are you ramping up your IPL stuff again now? Because we haven't actually ramped it down, but no one's been paying any attention to our IPL stuff. They paid attention to the start of the year, and they'll pay attention to the next bit. And so there is a natural part of that, and we don't get that as much because we play tournaments, right? So it's very different in normal cricket to what this is. And I think if you would look at the county game, it would be different again, because the start of the season, people are still working or kids are still at school. Then you have the big summer area, and then you might have, you know, that might either carry on if it's a good season or dip a little bit at the end. Whereas a normal league wouldn't have that because it doesn't have the season in the same way. So
it loses. What I would say after all these years in the game, it's just lost the event. You know, there's so much cricket, whereas you'd always look forward to the event.
Yeah.
And I think that has gone. Just from a personal viewpoint, and everybody's got their own ideas of what they want from cricket. I like county cricket. I enjoy county cricket, but I'm at a certain age that I will enjoy county
To be
cricket.
fair, you were moaning about it for about 20 minutes before we started.
Well, of course.
But he
Let's talk
enjoys
about-
moaning about it.
No, but that's because he cares about. He's not moaning about county cricket. He's
No,
just
No. You know, the performance, my team.
Exactly.
You know, my team
Yeah.
have played 4, drawn 4.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
You know, so you're not going to have a moan about that, but
Yeah.
you still follow your team. And then I look at my other team, Yorkshire, who lost 2 when they would be a real force. And then you think, well, there's still time.
Yeah.
There's still time to pick up points and to move up the table.